How's it going, guys? This is David Blade Banter. We're going to bring you specifications you can relate to so you can have an educated decision on your purchases. This one's going to be a knife that I brought to you guys probably about 10 months ago from Nriggi. There's a production variant, so it is available now, so if you want to pick it up, it is available. He also is doing custom laser engraving, so you can check those out as well. This is going to be what it looks like in pocket. So you did go away from, it was a loop over clip, now it's a titanium clip. So titanium handle, titanium clip, and then 20 CV for the blade steel, all for $210. So that's the base price, and then about $240 is going to be for the actual laser engraver version. So very good retention on this as well. So this is going to be retention side is going to be probably about 2 pounds, 2 pounds 8 ounces. So that's basically at the highest point. So basically, probably when I got to this ridge right here, it was about 2 pounds 8 ounces. For it. So that was just the, it's a good retention. It's not too bad. Depends on, I guess, what you're wearing for your clothes and whatnot. But this is going to be what the knife looks like. So very similar to the production or the prototype side of things. He did recess the screws for the knife. One of the areas that I was kind of a nitpick, but this part didn't really change too much. There's kind of a point here, so you can feel that a little bit when you handle it, but really you gotta try to be able to not feel that. So this is going to be what the knife looks like. It does have his logo right in the middle there, so that is a little bit darker than it used to be. But this is going to be the boxes that it comes in. So a little card that comes with it. It's going to tell you about the knife also. So there's going to be kind of a rundown of all different things for the knife. So there's going to be stone wash or a bead blast finish. I think I kind of like the bead blast finish better, but you can kind of make that determination as well. But you can kind of look at that, pause if you want to. But that's going to be the information there for the card. And then this is going to be the boxes, so basically closed. And then once you open it up, you have that card inside. And then this is going to be the one that he does his own finish on. And then you can kind of see it's a little bit more of a, it does have a feel to it. It's kind of almost like a 3D type of pattern, because I'll put you under a microscope here and you can kind of see as far as different, not different colors, but it's a different depth of where the material is. So you can kind of see, oh, there we go, that's a little bit better. So really close-up look as far as what that laser is doing to the titanium handle scale. You can see the different patterns that are available for the knife. So this is just different patterns that he's kind of mocked up for the knife, so you can get it put on there. This is actually a pretty cool one for kind of that woven basket, but I like that one. Yep, so all those different ones that are available. And so $240 is going to be the price point if you want that laser engraving. So he is doing that on his own, so he does have his own laser engraver, so that's done in-house for him. And then he does have his custom work, so these are handmade. So he started with the handmade, and then he went over to the custom side of things, or the production side of things, which is kind of a cool thing, because most folks start with designing and then go over to maybe making, but he started making, then went over to designing. So it's actually a pretty cool setup to be able to see that kind of come together. But other ones available, some fixed blades. So you'll see here for the Jersey, Stonewash 210. And then this one's going to be the bead blast of also 210. And if you actually want to pick up the prototype that he has available, you can actually buy that for $185. I believe this one was a 14C28 blade, so there's going to be a different one for that. But it's going to be the prototype, and it's going to be really like one of 3 or 4. So if you want to have something that's a little bit more special and unique, then you can have that one for the prototype. So it did reduce the weight a little bit on the knife, because the initial one did not have any weight relief on the inside of it. And this one has pretty substantial ones on the back side here. Didn't really go into too much on the front side. Kind of hard to see, but you can kind of see kind of in this section that it's weight relief there. This side is basically solid, but also weight relieved on the back side. So went down from like 3.7 ounces to 3.4 ounces, which is going to be for this channel about, what was it, 17 quarters. So 17 quarters, so you can have that weight. So if you want to add it to any of the knives that you already have, you can kind of get a good weight and feel for how that's going to be for you. Most cell phones nowadays are most 5 ounces, so it shouldn't be any type of issue when you're carrying your things around. I think this is one of the smoother knives that I've come across in a while, and then a lot of that's probably due to just the detent strength on it. Because for the flipper tab, even though because it's a bigger flipper tab, you could reduce some of the detent strength. So this one only flips out at probably about 1 pound 9 ounces. So in adding the flipper tab here, but because it's so large, then you can actually get a lot of good action on it. So you figure it doesn't release to about here, but that's a good release, and it's very smooth because it's not having a lot of that pressure from the detent ball pushing against it, slowing it down. Then you actually have a good action, open and closed. Even when I opened it up after I got the production ones back in, I just noted this is very smooth. It's also going to break in a little bit because you can kind of hear maybe just a little noise for it as it closes. But it's a nice looking knife, done well for the model. And then this is going to be the first one that he had for production side. Shieldon is the company that did this one. There is kind of a not great thing, but you can correct it fairly easily. But as far as production side for Shieldon, the prototype was a little off on the secondary grind, and for the production they're kind of the same, 15 degrees and 25 degrees. So one side was a little bit steeper than the other side for the knife. Didn't affect cutting, so it still cuts well. Paper, so just different cutting. And that was probably my hold up there, but different cutting for it. It does do decently well for the cutting, but you can always improve on that. It will be a pretty quick thing to get it to the edge that you want to on it, but you're going to have to kind of correct that because it's since it's two different angles, you're going to have to kind of even that out. The tip side, I believe, is still fairly straight, but it's very it's very thin behind the edge, so it should be a quick correction. But that's what I found between the two models. It's just a little bit off for that secondary bevel. Primary bevel is about 5 degrees, which is actually really good. Cutting through cardboard, we're also using the Lyman pull gauge and kind of doing a pull. It goes through kind of a big sheet of cardboard. It was probably about 8 pounds to get that to pull through. A box cutter was probably about 6 pounds. So it's pretty close to kind of a box cutter. As far as its performance, cutting through a thicker material, and that's a pretty good thing overall. 50 degrees is probably the tip angle. So basically, if you have a product, to get that tip in there, you're probably going to be going about 50 degrees to get that tip to penetrate. So that's where you can kind of determine for you as far as what type of things that you normally do with your knife, to be able to determine if this is going to be one that fits you well. But for $210, it's going to be a good price point for it. And then if you want to do that customization, again, it's still there for you. So check those out. But it's a nice thing to see. Nick, great job on things. Glad that you were able to bring it out. And then hopefully you can sell out, move on to the next one, or bring this one out again in different formats. Just a different ones for hand sizing. So you have these little charts here. I think I have it in a link. If not, then let me know if you're actually interested in it. But basically going to be for a women's hand. It's going to be this one for kids or a lady's hand. So you're going to see what that is for kind of a small hand versus a larger hand. And then men's size hands you're going to have here. So there's going to be on the larger side. So all the way through from XL all the way to small. So you kind of be adjusting as you go there. But you can kind of see how that's going to fit in your hand. For me, I have a large size glove, thinner fingers, but large size, so it still fits on there for all of my fingers. Very well placed. Still has kind of just, again, for me, just this little point here. It would be nice if they would have knocked that off for the production side of things, but that is something that is there. But good stuff. I mean, I think between the two of them, as far as blade finishes, so you can probably see the two here. So this is going to be the bead blast, this is going to be the stone wash. I think the bead blast works well for the overall knife, so this would be my choice. for the bead blast over the stone wash, and we'll see kind of how this one looks in comparison to some standard blades that are out there. So we'll see here, and then penguin. You guys know what a penguin looks like for sizing. Right there. And where we got bug out. So there's a bug out for you. So sizing wise, it's going to be pretty much in that range. So penguin size overall is going to be the size of this one. So check those things out. Weight wise is going to be less, especially between this one. But 3.4 ounces is going to be, you're not going to notice it. Granted, that's 1.89 ounces, but it's going to be a nice knife. So if you like it, check it out. Support Nick. Support some of his custom work as well if you want to pick those up. But that's about all I have to say about that one today.